It is a double delight for India at the Women's Boxing World Championship. India has won 2 gold medals, with Nitu Ghanghas winning the gold in the 48 kg category and Sweety Bora in the 81 kg final at the IBA Women's World Boxing Championship. To talk about the legacy of the Indian female boxers and how they continue to succeed on a global platform, we're now being joined by Malay Nirav, who is a sports journalist. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Nirav.
Thank you.
Now, India is the 4th most successful nation at the Women's Boxing Championships after Russia, China and Turkey. What is the reason behind this continued success?
Well, not much long ago, India's rank in the world was about 40th, and now it has reached the 3rd spot. And currently, I think, if you talk as a team of the Indian women boxers, it is number 3 in the world. That's what the International Boxing Association says. Now, if you look at this phenomenal journey of the Indian women boxers, you will realize that the women's boxing in India has taken many steps forward ever since the first women boxers started testing their mettle at the ring. And that was when Mary Kom, the golden girl of the Indian boxing, when she carved out a place for herself. And that was when the much needed, fillip for the women's boxing in India came. And that is how the Manipuri girls and the girls from the Northeast brought boxing on the national scene and the international scene of India. From then till now, boxing has acquired a pan-Indian character, and now you find boxers coming from all different parts of the country, and that is where I think that the game, especially for women, has really gone much, much far than what it was, say, about 2 decades back.
Right, absolutely, Mr. Nirav. Like you mentioned that boxing has a pan-India character now. India now has a total of 12 Women's World Boxing Championships gold medal, with Mary Kom winning 6 of them. But we now have other leading female boxers who are bringing laurels to India, from Mary Kom to Lavlina Borgohain. India's boxing legacy lives on. Tell us more on that.
Yes, if you look at the number of boxers who participated, for example, in the 2006 edition of the World Championships, which were hosted by India, there were 4 boxers from India. 2 of them we remember, 2 of them we have forgotten. But from then till now, if you look at the number of women boxing boxers who have actually occupied the front stage in boxing, both at the national and the international level, there's been a phenomenal rise in numbers. And what do we attribute the rise to? Well, number one, of course, when you realize that this is a game where women can do well, and not only do well as a sports person participating in national international championships, but also as people who are, or whose mettle and whose contribution and performances are recognized by the nation, recognized in more than one ways. When you have the Prime Minister tweeting when someone wins or even loses, or when you have a huge amount of prize money which comes your way if you win, or when you're assured for a job. You see, if you look at the history of these 2 boxers that you've just named, Nitu and Sweety, who have won the world championships,
right,
and were the gold medalists, you will be surprised to know that there was a time when both of these had thought of giving up. Nitu, who was introduced to the sport in 2012, had faced this dilemma twice. Once, when she could not rise up to the occasion and would not make it to the state meets, and second, when she had a pelvic injury in 2016, which threatened to derail her boxing journey. Now, again, when you look at Sweety, then she was snubbed out of the Tokyo Olympic qualifiers, and that took a toll on her. But their family support was there with them. In fact, one of the girls had her father working for Haryana government. He took leave for 3 years, spent 3 years with his daughter, and that's how these people were made to shine because they had the spark in them. It's just that they needed somebody, some hand holding, and that hand holding came not only from their families but also from the government, from association. In the last
Right.
12 years or so, in the 10 years or so, you have seen sport in general, getting a major fillip, both from the end of the government, and the federations have also started behaving a bit more sensibly than what they were doing earlier. Now, all this has led to a huge deluge of qualified, unqualified, willing boxers and girls who are now eyeing a place on the podium.
Right, absolutely.
Who want to prove that boxing in itself as a professional game can give them a career.
But absolutely, Mr. Nirav. Just to add to that, the Indian female boxers have really worked their way up to be where they are today. And boxing was predominantly considered a male-dominating sport back then, and we have certainly come a long way from that. But I want to seek your perspective on boxing and gender equality conundrum.
Look, gender discrimination was there, no doubt about that. The kind of force that was required to bring the women boxers at the level of the men boxers was missing somewhere or the other. I can't get into the blame game, but one thing is for sure, that the boxing federations were not taking the women boxers very lightly. I mean, they were taking them very lightly, not taking them very seriously. It was not until the game was introduced in the Olympics at London in 2012, mind you, 6 years after the first World Championship was hosted by India. It took 6 years for the Indian women boxers to compete at London when for the first time women boxing was included. Now, when women boxing was included in Olympics, then you saw people coming there in huge numbers from different parts of the world, almost all the continents. And that was something which made it into an international arena for the Indian girls to go and prove that they were no less than anyone else. Right. But federations and the people who run the game in this country to treat them at par with the men boxers, it not only needed that kind of a performance which they were willing to give, and which they did manage to give. And you had a medal from Lovelina at Tokyo, you had a medal from Telecom. She was many a times she became world champion, and she proved that she could do it even after having 2 babies. So that was when people started taking it seriously. When women boxing was established as a sport in the Olympic arena, that is when they thought that, yes, there was a medal hope from there. And then I must say, and you must realize that the kind of support that came from the government, and because of the government, also the federations woke up all of a sudden. They realized that there were medal hopes there from amongst women who could do well, and that's how the game got a boost.
Right, Mr. Nirav. My last question to you before I let you go. With Paris Olympics scheduled to take place next year, how prepared are the Indian female boxers? Till now, India has secured 3 medals in boxing. So do you see the numbers increasing in Paris 2024?
Yes, but the million-dollar question is, and there are rumors doing the round, that women's boxing may not be introduced in Paris Olympics. May not be there in Paris Olympics. I hope these rumors are not correct, and I hope good sense prevails on International Olympic Committee, because there are people now, as you know, today when the Indians are hosting the World Championships, there are more than 330 odd boxers participating from different parts of the world. If such a large number of boxing of boxers are there and in the boxing arena, in the world arena, then I don't see any reason why the Olympic movement should suddenly stop thinking of or stop having boxing, women's boxing as a sport in the Olympics. So that's where I think, as I said, the question is that if at all they decide not to have women's boxing, it will be a major blow to the aspirations of boxers, not only of India, but all over the world. But as I said earlier, I hope good sense prevails on them, and I hope, if at all, you see, for example, these people who are winning gold medals in world championships, or even silver medal, those who are winning gold and silver, they have a fair chance of qualifying for Asian Games, for World Championships, for Olympics, and also because of their performances, the way, for example, Nigat Zareen performed in Turkey last year, and again she is in the finals. So there is a hope. I not only see hope for 1 or 2 medals, I see hope for at least 4 to 5 medals from Indian women boxers.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Nirav, for joining us in WION and sharing your insights with us. Thanks very much.
Thank you.